Disclaimer. If you aren't comfortable talking about or hearing about subjects such as suicide, depression, anxiety, harassment, pedophilia, and hearing about how your favorite corruption content creator isn't perfect, please click off now and save yourself the time. Hey everyone, Landon Dust Stuff, back again for one last time in the corruption community. Though this time, we're not going to be talking about the newest Phantom Fear episode. Instead, we're going to be taking a mature look at how drama affects this community. I think it's fair to say that to anyone who's been in the corruption community for at least about a month or so, you'll see some form of drama or some forms of fighting happening in the community. And it happens a lot, and it really does affect everybody differently. And recently, or well, not so recently by the time this video is going up, there was a huge situation involving SoulBF Charts, who's a pretty influential content creator in the corruption scene. As well, I want to take this time to also address some past dramas from a couple friends of mine, talk about how drama affects a community and a community's viewpoint on a person, and how being cancelled and cancel culture can affect the targeted individual. So, to get this started, why don't we talk about how drama can affect a community and how it can affect the person being accused. So, what is drama, and how does it affect the fanbase? Well, to start out, drama as a whole revolves around cancel culture now. The idea that someone has done something super bad and they either need to take responsibility or be removed from said fanbase or community entirely. It can be for many different reasonings for why to cancel someone or start drama. I'm not going to list them all here, but some obvious ones are abuse, pedophilia, harassment, and overall just being a bad person. Some reasons are very irrational and usually come from personal disputes, and unfortunately there are a lot of people in these communities who don't take the time to do their own research, or form their own opinions on these dramas and cancel culture kind of situations. And instead people will follow with a mob mentality. As well, when these few people do take the time to actually hear both sides out, there's always going to be people taking sides depending on their viewpoints, which is completely natural and fair. But this will usually lead to friends splitting up, all because of some argument between two random people in a community that they barely even know. So, it's fair to say that drama and cancel culture as a whole is usually leading to divide and unneeded arguments, when most of these issues could have just been solved privately. But, of course, I know as well as anybody else that nobody is perfect. You can't be the best human being, because perfect doesn't exist. That's the thing that really sucks about being human, honestly. I know I've made my fair share of stupid choices when I was growing up, and I can imagine that you did too, or you're making them right now. Obviously, a lot of the people in this community are younger. They're early teens, maybe up to like 16-year-olds max, but a lot of them are younger than that. And the main issue with cancel culture is not giving these people who have made mistakes the chance to truly grow. Rather, you take them for who they are, before they were given the chance to change and realize they made mistakes or misjudgments in the first place, leaving them alone in the most detrimental time, when they're trying to recover and attempting to better themselves. So, with that little explanation out of the way, I want to start by talking about the most recent drama that occurred, that being involving the attempted suicide of the content creator, SoulBF Charts. So, before talking about what we should change after this incident, I just want to say I personally don't know SoulBF Charts, or Soul for short, very well. I talked with him with the making of this video, as well asking for permission to cover this and use images and quotes from the doc, which luckily he gave me the chance to do, which I want to say thank you, Soul, for giving me that chance. But as well, I have nothing but respect and gratitude for Soul coming out about everything that happened to him, as it truly takes a lot of courage and maturity to talk about something so uncomfortable while being only 15 years old. Or, well, 14 at the time, really, as he released the document on his birthday. I also want to say that I will be using some screenshots and quotes from his and other documents, which I will be linking in the description, so you can take a look for yourself. After all, I wouldn't want to talk about some of these things that are super serious without showing any proof or evidence of them happening. So, to give a bit of context, Soul was a bit controversial. After sending some NSFW images to people, making some edgy jokes with friends in the GC, and having a fight with someone and bringing some relationship issues up while he was 13 at the time, People started calling him horrible names: a pedophile, a groomer, a homophobe, and even racist for these actions. As said in Soul's doc, his family was struggling financially, possibly leading to him acting out and doing these edgy things. We'll talk about it more later, but he wanted to fit in this group, and he thought him saying these things, even though they were wrong, he thought that he was fitting in and he had people he could talk to. And even when he admitted that his mistakes were there and he did have issues that he was going to fix and he was trying to be better, the harassment never stopped. Every time people commented or talked behind his back, harassing him left and right, even some just old friends of him turning on him at some points. When he was at one of the lowest levels of his life, one of the lowest points, he had no one to turn to. He had no one to confide in, and it resulted in him trying to take his own life. Which, luckily, his life wasn't taken, as he would post a document April 30th clarifying everything that had happened, providing screenshots and giving his reasons for why he tried to take his own life. Which, I just want to say, it's a truly sad read, but I think it's necessary for a lot of the people in this community to read it. So please, it's in the description. Give it the time of your day. It's about a 10 to 15 minute read if you go as slow as I do, which I'm a pretty slow reader. So just take that time if you can. But this incident shows a lot of the issues with the community and how it handles drama. As I've already shown with these screenshots, even trying his best to change, Soul was still being harassed and labeled as some things so horrible and despicable, leaving him alone and spiraling down deeper into depression. Which, after telling someone they have a problem that needs attention, the last thing you do is isolate them when trying to recover. Whenever I was being taught about helping someone struggling mentally in my psychology class, the most important thing would always be maintaining some sort of social connections. As humans, we're all naturally social. It doesn't matter, we always want to interact and carve our own group of people that is natively ours, which Soul never got to do. Even after admitting his issues, people would continually dog on him. And after the news of his suicide was exposed in public, so many of the people who continually harassed him all flipped damn near instantly to saying they respected him and will always miss him. As well, saying things like they didn't mean what they said and never meant any of it. It was all in good fun. Which, I think the fair question is, why even say it? Why did you have to? But, as bitter as this is the exception. Normally when someone is getting involved in drama, people will normally act all buddy-buddy and then eventually the facade will drop the same day as a document. And that person will be abandoned, with no chance to ever improve who they were as a person. And to the people that feed into this, I have to ask you, how would you feel if one day, everyone you thought that cared about you all just disappeared from your life and continually talk shit behind your back? Would you feel good or inclined to change it all? Or rather, would you hate yourself so much you become self-destructive and possibly ruin the little good that you have left in your life? I'll be talking more about the two-facedness of the community a bit later, but to bring it back to Soul, this whole situation should have never happened. A young teen should never have to attempt to take his life because of some stupid stuff he did when he was 13 years old. And to the people who talk so much shit about him or anyone else in this community, I want you to know that there is a human being, no different from you or me behind that screen, typing or talking, one that loves, laughs, screams and cries, one that deserves the exact same rights and privileges that you do, that deserves the same chances that you do. So please, take the time to talk to someone about their issues privately before trying to cancel them. I know it can be uncomfortable, trust me. I've heard and said my fair share of things, but it's the only way we can truly see change in this community. Losing this power dynamic where people with exposed issues are lesser, but rather looking at someone for who they are. Human. And I think I'll end this section here with a quote from Soul himself, as he said it much better than I ever could. This is not just my story. It's a warning. Because if we don't change now, the next rest in peace might not just be a scare. So this situation is going to be a lot shorter than Soul and the next situation I have set up, as I have little to no screenshots, and most of the situation I've heard of recently. So to catch everybody up to speed, at the time of Corruption Takeover releasing semi-frequently, Matttz had decided to make a playable version of Tiebreaker, which was supposed to serve as one of the songs featured in Mirror's Week. Pi Dude, the creator of Takeover, was very well known for hating recreations, of his mod specifically, taking the time out of his day to make a community post scolding someone making a recreation of the Spooky Kids Week. Matttz would unfortunately get caught in the crossfire, with this Tiebreaker recreation he uploaded being hated by Pi, and Matttz was harassed by Pi himself, which caused him to soon enough distance from the community to avoid even more hatred from Pi's fans, which is something that I want to talk about. Of course, at the time, Pi was very hateful towards recreations, and harassment like this was just unneeded. Especially to Matttz, who is by far one of the nicest people I met in the community, and only 15 at the time. Though unlike Soul's situation, it seems like things ended on a semi-positive note. Pi seems to have taken responsibility for their actions and admitted that, hey, they were wrong for what they said. While the apology wasn't the best, you can tell over time they understood this hate just wasn't needed, as they decided to distance themselves from the community entirely, now seemingly slowly working on Takeover with a small dev team, waiting to release until it's actually finished. Overall, this situation is by far the best outcome seen in this video. While both never made amends, they went their separate ways and seemed to hold little to no grudge. So honestly, there isn't much more for me to talk about with this situation, as Matttz has one thing they wanted to say before we hop into our final one. It's insane how a community can evolve around so much hatred over years. That doing something small as combining sprites from different mods, the same crap I did a year prior, made people in the community go apeshit. SoulBF Charts did not deserve this treatment from the community. If I went through his situation, I would be fucking surprised with how I could feel happy in his situation. Now I just distance myself from the community, and only talk to smaller amounts of people. Is treat people the way you want to be treated. So I want to say before starting this off and diving in, that Akane and I were and still are very close friends, as she helped me write this section, though keep in mind some things may not be one-to-one, as it has been a while since this all went down, and without keeping the servers, because she's an idiot and deleted her account, we tried to put the pieces together best we could. As well, I want to say now that there are some people that I'm going to mention here that did wrong that I still talk to, that I still keep a friendship with, that I don't want to end. I just want them to be held accountable for what they did and understand that they made mistakes. And as well, there may be some bias here for what I say about Akane as a person, but I'll maintain an unbiased viewpoint for the drama and cancellation of her. So starting out, let's go back about a year and a half ago. The Headshot Direct had just finished premiering, with Psy and Iron both trying to cancel Akane immediately after the third section had finished premiering. This all started with her getting kicked from the Corruption Calamity dev server, and when asking Psy about it, they said they had no idea, lying straight to Akane's face, telling other people that they had a special surprise for Akane after the final section of the Direct had released. And almost immediately after that premiere had ended, Psy went on to attack Akane's character in the Headshot Direct server, and in private DMs with other people, which was the first step towards her cancellation, and luckily at this time, Ultraviolet stood up for Akane and helped her get out of this without cancellation. Unfortunately, this whole situation would tank Akane's reputation anyways, even when the claims were disputed and false, with people like Iron still trying to gaslight Akane into feeling responsible for her attempted cancellation, which was already shown to be false by Ultraviolet. Moving on, we'll go about 2 to 3 months into the future. It's around springtime now, and everything is going alright, until Sam's Muffin, or Rinzy, or the owner of Last Reality, had a falling out with Akane due to continued disagreements and issues that I'll keep private to keep everything protected and secure. But this falling out would lead to Sam spreading misinformation and false allegations about Akane during the making of the Direct. Sam had said that Akane said his excuse of his aunt having cancer wasn't good enough to not work on the Direct or Last Reality's trailer for the Direct, as originally, me, Sam, and Akane were the only 3 working on the Direct, which would eventually change to me and Akane, as Sam had told me that he was caught up with school, never once mentioning his aunt to me or Akane. Very quickly, I also want to say if there is any screenshot or evidence of Sam ever bringing this to Akane's attention, I would love to see it and put a pinned comment down, or even edit this section out, as again, it has been a long time and possibly could have happened, and Akane agrees that it is possible, but very, very unlikely. If true and evidence is provided, Akane is fully ready to accept what had happened, apologize, and grow to be better. And I feel like I should say this now, that at the time of these allegations being dropped, Akane never talked in voice chat. They always used text chat. So if there's any evidence for it, it would be really easy to find. But as well, Avery, now known as Trifecta, would also attack Akane with claims of overworking a developer and saying a family member having cancer wasn't good enough of an excuse to not work on her mod, B3 Endless Terror, which, once again, we haven't been given any evidence of this interaction ever happening, or even the developer coming out about being overworked, which, with both claims being so similar but having slight differences, switching from the direct to B3, then saying it happened in DMs then to VC, is it that far-fetched to say that both tried to agree on a story, but then made mistakes and caught themselves in a lie before anyone really noticed? Though even without evidence, many servers would soon ban Akane, and people who already disliked her for her personality would immediately jump and support the claims, all because they disliked her, leading to Akane being pretty much exiled from the corruption community, only with very few people like myself still deciding to support and talk to her. As well, when friends that stuck around asked for evidence, they never got a response after asking. Now with the history of this drama wrapped up, let's finally talk about the two-facedness of this community. During the direct, and even after Sai's attempt to cancel Akane, everybody around her was still acting very friendly, and there seemed to be no issues with her. But right after Sam and Trifecta began to attack Akane with these allegations, a ton of people dropped the facade, and endlessly talked about how much they hated Akane for something just everything they stand for, not something, everything. This led to people saying that they wouldn't care if Akane was innocent. They still wanted her gone anyway, because she was just rude and critiqued people's work in not the nicest way. Which, this entire situation could have been handled much better privately. If Sai, Iron, Sam, Trifecta, Prism, or even Funnyman, just to name some examples, were honest with Akane and told her how they felt. Hey, Akane, I really don't like what you said back there about my mod, B4 Endless Fighting. I know that the art is just stickmen, but I would really appreciate if you weren't so toxic about it. Do you mind just not saying that next time? Hey, thank you. It's a lot easier talking to you in private. Thank you so much. Instead of hiding it and acting like everything was okay, this would have completely stopped this situation from happening in the first place. As well, a couple months later, Akane provided a document that cleared her name, but it was swept under the rug and disregarded due to her reputation thanks to the false allegations, which were once again proven false by her document. And I feel I must ask, once again, how would you feel if anyone that you cared about talked shit behind your back and disappeared from your life? Seems like some people have an idea, but you may not know how it feels. Though Akane, Soul, and many others not talked about here who were forgotten by the community do. And to wrap this section up, Akane has two things they want to say. I may not be the best person in the world, and I have my fair share of flaws, but I'm human, and I try to own up to it and change for the better. So I think as a community, we need to try and let people have the chance I never did, or else it might turn out worse than I did. As well, if Sam or anyone else here wants to settle their differences with Akane, she's more than happy to talk about everything that happened, whether it be DMs, VC, email, a pigeon. She doesn't give a fuck. So please, reach out if you truly want to talk to her. Just message me and I'll get you guys set up in the GC. Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to the end of the video. Obviously, we just wrapped up with the Kane section, but some people wanted to speak out about a couple of things that have happened to them personally, and this is the one person that wanted to. Ace Cream, I believe, or just Liam.
That's me, yeah.
Yeah,
hello.
That's him. Hello. So, how do you want to start this off, Liam? What do you want to say?
To be honest, it's very hard to even word everything that I've experienced just being in the community.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, just to start it off, working on mods fan mods, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to grow your thing. Work on other things, please.
Fair,
But yeah,
fair.
my experience with that is just because I started off corruption modding with Oblivion,
Mhm.
and that was a train wreck on its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
After
don't even
I
know
left,
what
yeah.
happened with Oblivion.
Well, it's partially a little my fault, I guess. I worded things poorly when I left, and that
Hmm.
kind of caused the mod to crumble because I was like one of the lead artists at the time, so it kind of
I
just
see.
it all imploded in on itself,
Yeah,
and
it was
there
just
was lots of
dumb.
discourse with somebody I was with at the time.
Oh, all right. So it was just kind of like a
Oh
snowball
yeah.
effect. When you left, it just kind of came tumbling down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, all right. So yeah, this modding, like that, the whole modding scene in general, it just feels really like toxic now compared
Yeah,
to like at
like the
least what
amount
it
of
was.
times my work has been like replaced or I've just been kicked out of a dev team without me knowing. It's just like
I know
what?
one specific that did the same to me, bro.
Liam, do you have anything you want to talk about, like personally, that you've experienced,
Um,
or?
I think the worst thing I experience a lot in this community is just the constant like drama and like the threats people do, I guess.
Yeah,
It's always shallow threats and like rage baiting or whatever you want to fucking call it.
yeah. There's
Or
no
just
like sincerity in what people say. It just kind
oh
of like
yeah.
it's a lot of empty
Yeah.
threats.
And it's always just things to try and get people to turn against you.
Hmm.
No matter like even though you have a sense of morality and you know what's right and what's wrong, somebody will just say one thing trying to like just to get under your skin and then it all just flips the board for you and then you're just like everyone's looking at you like you're some
Some
awful person.
monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say. I mean, I've had my fair share of seeing stuff like that. It hasn't happened to me personally, but there are some friends of mine that it's definitely really it sucks to watch. I'll be honest. Like I really wish I did say something back then when everything was going down. So I definitely know what you're talking about. It's just like all these like empty threats that sometimes some of the stuff didn't even really happen, or it was just a simple misunderstanding that people take and they twist and kind of manipulate
Yeah,
it. It really is just
for sure.
unfortunate. Though, anything else really you want to speak about here?
I think the main part is something that's like happened recently and I will no matter I don't care what the fuck happens. Quite frankly, I need to talk about this just because it's like I don't get how this shit like is
Like
able
it
to
slid.
just slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's just so like recently because I used to be with someone, but I'm not gonna name drop
All right.
the person specifically.
Gotcha.
But I used to be with this person, and we kind of like fell out over because I speak with Violet, etc. I
Yeah.
speak with other people,
Yeah. Of course.
and all that sort of shit. But they messaged both me and Violet saying that they were gonna kill themselves and stuff, and
Oh.
I had to like deal with that, and they disappeared for days, scaring everyone. And how would you manage that feels for like me and Violet and that,
Yeah.
especially
Of
like
course.
me. It's
Yeah.
like oh my, like how am I supposed to handle that? How am I supposed
Yeah.
to manage that? Like I'm
That is
just
crazy.
I'm just a fucking 19-year-old, bro. I'm trying to live my own life, do my own shit,
Yeah. You
and
don't want
it's
to have to
like
deal with someone else's mental health on the side, which seemed to be really bad at the moment.
yeah, and it's not like I didn't care because I did, but there's nothing I can do, and it's like, and then they come back. They come back, nothing ever happened, and they just hop in VCs and just be like, "Oh, I'm taking a break." Like, so what was that scare for? Was that like
Yeah.
was it a scare? How am I supposed to know it was genuine? How am I supposed to know what happened?
Yeah, how am I not to like supposed to know that it was just like manipulation, or if they're just trying to it's really that kind of stuff has always been like super scary to me. Like especially when people they just go AWOL with no explanation, and like I've had my fair share where some people have done that to me. Normally it ends with me breaking ties, but I can imagine that especially being in this community and working on things, it's a bit harder for like you to break ties like fully with them because sometimes it's
Yeah.
just you'll eventually see them again and it's like damn. I can only imagine how that feels. So,
It's genuinely this community is just it's something. There's so many great and talented people in it, and there's so many wonderful people to talk to. But then there's also the side that nobody wants to talk about, like the people who argue in Phantom server and just the people who just will do nothing but shit on everything you make. When you upload a video, no matter be like a take, it'll just be like, is that it? Or just
Really?
some stupid shit like that. It's
Mhm.
like people have such high standards, but
When
then
this is
their
all for fun.
standards, yeah, when this is all for fun, this is all that it should be. Like, we were given a community by a guy, as someone who works with Phantom personally, he's an amazing fucking guy. I wouldn't change anything about him, bro. He's like been there for me, supporting me and helping me with my art as well. And it's like, he's such a great guy, but it's so hard that like something that he made for a passion project has spiraled into a community that people are just so
So hateful.
horrible and shallow and hateful. Yeah.
It's just I
No.
think really what got me personally was what happened with Soul BF charts. I assume you know everything that went down with that.
I know it all.
Yeah, I was gonna say seeing that really like kind of kickstarted my morality again. I was like, wait a minute, why the fuck have I not said anything yet? This is fucking crazy. Like actually,
Yeah.
the fact that people got away with so much of this shit at the time, it just it feels so wrong now looking back on it that I didn't do anything about it. I didn't say anything about it. It kind of it ate away. That's like the best way I could put it. So
It-
that's
It
why I'm
just
here.
hurts to watch people just escape the
Exactly.
situation. They just run away from it. They cause the shit and then they just book it. They
Yeah,
run like
exactly.
nothing happened.
Like I mean, I think a great example is to bring up like Enda. Enda, he was part of
Yeah.
being a really big dick to Soul, and then he acted like nothing ever happened, and it was just like, wow, really? You're gonna go ahead and do that?
It made Psy leave as well, and
Yeah, I was gonna
I've
say,
seen,
Psy
like,
fully deleted the
screenshots
channel.
and stuff as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen like screenshots of so many things. I don't know who to believe no more, to be honest.
I was gonna say, I just it's crazy. This community is it's in a definitely a big turning point where either A,
Yeah.
it gets a lot better, or B, it sinks in further, and then there's just not gonna be much of a community left by the time everything's done.
Yeah.
It-
I
it's
think my final point is that just after this, I think I'm not working on anything corruption based anymore, apart from working with Phantom and Pincer with corruption and corruption F.
I
I'm
respect it.
completely I'm retiring from that shit. I've got an actual job I need to focus on, which I really enjoy.
Hey, nice.
And it's just there's better things for me to focus on rather than stuff that can bring me down so low for no reason.
True, especially when it originally comes from a place of of love, just of wanting to make cool stuff, and then it gets so negative. It's
Yeah.
crazy. All right. Well, hey, if that's everything you wanted to say, I just want to say thank you so much for appearing in the video. Violet, thank you so much for letting me get into communication with Liam and helping us kind of get this all organized. And I guess all that's left for the video itself is for the conclusion, which should be happening right about now. All right.
Conclusion!
Conclusion! Woo! Yeah! Yippee!
Let's go!
So first of all, I want to thank everybody here for watching to the end. I know that it's a bit difficult to really sit here and listen to all these awful things we talked about, especially at the start with what happened with Soul BF charts, but seriously, thank you for giving this video the time and the chance to, really explain why these things that happen have negative effects on people. And I know that I'm probably going to get in some hot water for saying what I said about Akane's situation, but I want to also take the time to say that even though I disagree with what some of these people did, and how they acted towards some of my friends. I am not a spiteful person. I don't want to hold any grudge, as I knew these people just as well as Akane did before everything went down. And hell, I still talk to them every now and then. It's not as frequently, but, we still, we'll play Smash sometimes. We'll still have time where we talk in the VC and chill. So I really don't want that bond and that friendship to go. This is specifically for the people who I talked about in this video, by the way, in case you're wondering. I just want the people who I talked about here to be held accountable for what they did, and understand that the damage they did to people was wrong. Just because they disliked somebody, they exiled them. They kicked them out. They had nobody to lean on. I think it was very cruel. I'll be completely honest, I'll throw my opinion in here. Leaving them alone after telling them that they were a dick and that they should just kind of leave with no care. I feel like the obvious take would be to tell them that you have issues with them and work with them through those changes. If you truly do care about this person, if you truly were friends with this person, you wouldn't have any fear in saying how you feel about them, saying you have issues, which I guess kind of carries on to my further points I mentioned already. I don't want to dabble too long, and I want to say this now, please do not use this video in any way to harass or target anybody. That would kind of defeat the whole purpose of it. I truly want this video to help. I always wanted to help this community. I'll say it once, I'll say it again, that when I came into this community and I started making videos, I had a blast. It was before I truly got involved with it. I'd say around Reimagined was when I got involved. It was when I was making the Spooky Kids video, that's when I first met Akane, Wavy, and a couple other people that I'm forgetting the names of. Then we worked on the direct, and that time was awesome. I had a blast, and giving the community something to look forward to was awesome. And it may have sucked to work on sometimes, working 30 hours at work, 30 hours, a week with school, and everything, plus doing this video, but I had a great time with it anyways. So, please, don't see this as me attacking people's characters. I do not ever want to do that. I never want to be included in that toxic bubble. I want to help. That's all. As you can tell, this isn't scripted at all. I'm just kind of rambling here. I don't really know what else to say. Like, obviously, everything mentioned in this video, it was all unneeded, right? If people gave Soul the chance to change, then he would have never tried to take his own life. And who knows, maybe we could be in a better place we are now. If people talk to Akane about her issues, then hey, maybe Akane would still be in the community. Maybe people would still be friends. Maybe we would be in a better place. And of course, with Matt's situation, it's kind of iffy now because of Pi leaving, or not leaving, but really kind of like not really orbiting as much. But the point still stands that it just wasn't needed. If anything, it could have just been a quick DM to Matt saying, hey, I don't like what you did. Could you not do it again? And then at most take down the video. But in the end, that's all I really have to say. Again, I want to thank you all so much for giving me the time to really talk about this and really sit through this more kind of mature style. This isn't what I normally make, by the way. If you want my normal type of content where it's more fun with some goofy edits, go ahead and click on my channel. You'll find a bunch of videos. Whether you're a fan of Friday Night Funkin', I've got some other stuff about Undertale, Pizza Tower, Five Nights at Freddy's, which I wouldn't recommend to go watch those videos. They're very old. I have plans to remake those at some point. But as well, I'm also making a video right now where I'm covering every 2D Sonic game, ranking them from worst to best. I'm going to cut it into sections, so make sure to be on the watch, as Section 1 should release within the next month or so, I hope. I'm praying. It's taking a while because it's just a big video, but I'm trying to make it the best I can for you guys, and I don't want to rush it. I've tried rushing things before, and it never works out. Though, thank you all for watching and giving me the chance to show you what's so wrong with this community. And I hope that the corruption community listens, and empathy and trust are no longer just a privilege, but a right given to everybody who joins it. So this is going to be stitched in at the end of the video, just so you know. So it might sound a bit weird, but I also wanted to give a little bit more clarity on why I truly left the community. After dealing with the Kane situation and really kind of losing them as a friend and as like a support system, I was already going through a mental rut at the time, and I was terrified at the idea that what happens if someone randomly decided I was next? What happens if this 1,300 subscribers that I built up, that I was so proud of, that I finally made it with YouTube? What if it just vanished because someone made a doc about me because they just didn't like me, and convinced other people to go along with it? It scared me. The fear was immense. I'm not usually very public about this stuff when it comes to my viewer base because I want to be there as that light at the end of the tunnel, you know? The person that you can watch and say, hey, that was funny. Thank you for making me laugh. I haven't had the best day. But if I'm going to be talking about all these situations, I guess I can talk a little bit about my own. I know that this conclusion's a bit longer than my normal ones, but I seriously don't want this video to come off as half-assed or just quick or like, oh, you're cashing in on it. I really want you guys and everybody who's watching this to understand that even though I wasn't a part of the drama as well, it still had an effect on me. And I can imagine that I'm not the only person that felt that way. I can imagine there's at least a good group of people that felt just like I did. The fear that even if you aren't disliked, all it takes, not disliked, if you aren't doing anything wrong, all it takes is one person to say that they don't like you and to create false accusations with no proof. Does that not scare you a little bit? Obviously, I know that if I were to talk to the people about it, they'd say, oh, well, we wouldn't do it to you because you're a good person, you know, you're nice. But what happens if those other people tried to change, but you just never gave them the chance? That's all I really want to say here. Seriously, it was a blast in the corruption community at the start, but as time went on, it really did just slowly deteriorate. But thank you for everything, guys. I'm done. I hope that this video is a wake-up call to many people who have caused these issues, and I hope that people do take the time to truly realize their mistakes and change. Alright, my name is Landon, and I've seriously done all my stuff in the corruption community. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye. Forever this time, I'm not coming back.
Now get out there and take that guy's...